Hey you guys, it's Amy with Myths and Legends from all over the world. So today we are not going to talk about Taiwan. We have a new country, and this country is Egypt. So I've never been to Egypt, but it just looks incredible, and Egypt has a really rich history. Today we're going to be talking about one of the original myths, which is the creation myth. A creation myth is a story about how the world was created, and each country has their own creation myth. I know China has one, India has a creation myth, Japan as well. And today we're going to learn about Egypt's creation myth. So go ahead and listen along, and I want you to first write down all of the listening questions, okay? Here they are right here. I have them just for you, yes. Okay, number one, who are the main characters? What relationships do they have with one another? Number two, who was born from an egg? Yes, someone was born from an egg. Very exciting. And why was the egg floating? Number three, who was chosen to be the pharaoh? And what did the other children think about that? Number four, who was murdered and by whom? Yeah, it's that kind of story. It's a good one. You'll like it. Number five, after his son was murdered, what did Ra do to help? Number six, why do the kings of Egypt carry the crook and the flail? And last one, number seven, according to the myth, why does the Nile River rise every year? Okay, I'll be back. All right, here's the vocabulary. Go ahead and write down everything that you don't know. Okay? Float, to not sink, to stay at the top of the water. The leaf floated aimlessly on the river. Hatch, to emerge from an egg. The baby duck hatched and started to walk around. Keep someone company, to become a companion to someone. I know you are alone tonight, so why don't I come over and keep you company? Pharaoh, the title of the ancient Egyptian kings. Egyptian pharaohs were said to have special magical powers. Jealous, strongly wanting someone's possessions, position, or advantages. When Jack got the gold medal, Bruce immediately became jealous of him. Chop, to cut into pieces. First, chop the onion into small pieces, then add it to the soup. Murder, unlawful killing of someone. Ever since Mary was shot, the police have been trying to figure out who murdered her. Rumor, gossip passed around by word of mouth. Have you heard the rumors? Allie and John are dating now. Jackal, an animal similar to a dog. The bird was swiftly eaten by a pack of jackals. Beloved, dearly loved. I may give up all of my possessions, but I would never give up my beloved cat. Rule, to exercise authority over nations like a king or a queen. The king rules his country with a gentle heart. Furious, very angry. I'm furious at Sam because he stole my wallet. Track, to go after with the intent to catch. The lion tracked his prey for 5 miles before finally killing it. Dwell, to live in, to be an inhabitant of. This type of snake dwells at the bottom of the lake. Honor, show respect towards. To show our respect for his death, we had a moment of silence in his honor. Scarce, not plentiful, more demand than supply. Fresh vegetables are scarce during a drought. Riverbank, the part where the river meets the land. Alligators like to take a nap along the riverbank. Once upon a time, when the earth was new and everything was just beginning, the earth was covered with water. An egg floated on the water, just one egg. When that egg hatched, Ra was born. Ra did not want to spend his time floating around, doing nothing, So he flew into the sky and became the sun. Ra dried up much of the water and made the land. Ra was lonely, so he made a wife. He named her Nut. Ra made many gods and goddesses to keep him company. He put them all to work. His children were very busy running the world. Still, they took time out to have children, because children were glorious things to have. Soon there were many gods and goddesses. Ra was the father, or the grandfather, or the great-grandfather of them all. All children are glorious, but to Ra, one child was especially important. That child was his grandson, Osiris. Osiris had a brother named Set. Ra loved Set as a father loves his son, but his favorite by far was Osiris. To show Osiris how much he was loved, Ra made Osiris the first pharaoh of Egypt. Osiris married Isis, his one true love, and the king, Osiris, and queen, Isis, settled down quite happily with their son, Prince Horus. Set was terribly jealous. Why should Osiris be named Pharaoh and not him? In a fit of anger, Set killed his brother Osiris and chopped him into little pieces. He threw the pieces into the Nile River. Set was sure he would get away with this murder, but you know how rumors spread. Isis soon heard what Set had done. Isis managed to gather the pieces of her beloved Osiris. She brought these pieces to her good friend Anubis, the jackal-headed god. Anubis was very clever. He managed to put the pieces of Osiris together again. But he did not have the power to bring him back to life, so that Osiris could retake his place beside his beloved Isis and rule Egypt as king. When the great Ra heard about it, he was furious. He gave Osiris a new job, an even better job. He made Osiris the god of the dead, which was the most important job of all. Osiris could rule over the land of the dead and be dead himself. In fact, he would have to be dead to enter the land of the dead. So things worked out very well, or so Ra believed. When the young Prince Horus heard about what his uncle Set had done, although he was still only a boy, he tracked down his uncle Set and murdered him. Isis was grateful to her friend Anubis and to her son Horus and to her grandfather Ra, but nothing anyone could do would bring Osiris back to her. He would dwell forever in the land of the dead, and she would live forever in the land of the living. Isis knew that she would never see her beloved husband again. In honor of the god Osiris, the kings of Egypt carry a crook and a flail, the signs of Osiris. The crook especially became the sign of rulers. The crook looked a great deal like a snake and was made out of wood. They used wood because wood was scarce. That made it even more special. From then on, and even today, once each year Isis travels to the riverbank. Remembering and dreaming, tears fall from her eyes. That is why the Nile River rises each year, to bring life to everyone and everything along the Nile. When Isis cries, the Nile will rise, and that is a very important thing. Okay, so we finished the story. I hope you liked it. Lots of murder. I love that part. So let's go over the listening questions together. Make sure that you understand at least some of the listening questions. If you didn't get all of them, that's okay, but if you only got maybe one or two, then I would suggest that you go back to the story and listen one more time. Okay? Number one, who were the main characters and what relationships do they have with one another? So there are a lot of characters in this story. It's kind of difficult to write down all of them. Let's see how many you got, okay? The first character is Ra. He's the main guy in Egyptian mythology. And Ra created a wife named Nut. Osiris and Set are the grandsons of Ra, and Isis is the wife of Osiris and has a good friend named Anubis. Remember, Anubis has the dog head. And the son of Osiris and Isis is Horus. Okay, so I know lots of characters. That's okay if you didn't get them all. Okay, number 2, who was born from an egg and why was the egg floating? Ra was hatched from an egg. It was floating because the earth was covered only with water. So at that time, there wasn't anything there, just water. And that's why there was this random egg floating. And out comes Ra. He's born from this egg. So this is the creation myth. Okay. Number 3, who was chosen to be Pharaoh? Remember, Pharaoh is like a king, right, in Egypt. And what did the other children think about that? So Ra chose his grandson Osiris to be the first pharaoh of Egypt. And this is a problem, right? So his brother Set was very, very jealous. He did not like this idea. Number 4, who was murdered and by whom? Osiris was murdered by his brother Set, and he was chopped into many pieces. So not just murdered. He didn't just kill him. He cut him up. So the idea of that is really gross. Yeah. Anyway, number 5, after his son was murdered, what did Ra do to help? So Ra made Osiris, the god of the dead, the most important job of all. That's because Osiris cannot be brought back to life, so he must stay dead. So remember that Ra loves Osiris. He wants him to be alive, but because he's been chopped up and there's just no way to bring him back to life. So the best solution is for Osiris to be the god of the dead. There's no other solution to make that work. So Ra did the best that he could, basically. Number 6, why do the kings of Egypt carry the crook and the flail? I hope you learned these 2 words from the vocabulary. It's very specific for Egypt. You can see those images in the pyramids and other Egyptian iconography. So they carry the crook and the flail in honor of the god Osiris. Okay, last one, number 7. According to the myth, why does the Nile River rise each year? I thought this part was really cool. The Nile River rises because Isis cries into the river and her tears make the water level rise. So they have a reason for the rising and the falling of the water. Nowadays, we know the scientific aspect of why the river rises and falls. But a long time ago, they didn't know, so they created a story to explain why the Nile River overflows and then recedes, right? Yeah, really interesting stuff. Okay, last part is pronunciation. Please listen and repeat. Okay, last part is pronunciation. Go ahead and listen to the sentences and then we will repeat back again and again. Number 1, just listen. Once upon a time, when the earth was new and everything was just beginning, the earth was covered with water. Yeah, kind of long. Anyway, I chose this sentence because of the TH sound that you can see with a lot of the words here. So the first word with the TH is earth, earth, okay? And then everything, everything. Yeah, remember that TH sound, everything. And the last part is with, okay? So when you listen to the sentence again, be really careful about the TH sound, okay? One more time. Once upon a time, when the earth was new and everything was just beginning, the earth was covered with water. Okay? All right. Number 2. Ra dried up much of the water and made the land. Okay? So I want you to look at these 2 words, dried up. we don't say them as two words. We actually say it as one word together. It sounds like dried up, dried up. Okay? So when you say the sentence, make sure you say dried up as one word. Okay? Please listen. Ra dried up much of the water and made the land. Okay, number 3. Just listen again. Ra was the father or the grandfather or the great-grandfather of them all. So, did you hear all the TH sounds? Yes, you will have to practice that. All right, so the first word, father, father, the father, yeah? And grandfather, grandfather, okay? And great-grandfather, great-grandfather. So we keep adding more words to father, right? But the sound, the TH, stays the same, okay? And last one is them, them, okay? Listen to the whole sentence. Ra was the father or the grandfather or the great-grandfather of them all. Okay. Number 4, just listen. When the great Ra heard about it, he was furious. Okay, we have 2 parts that I want you to look at. The first part is the word great. Great. So you have to make that A very long. A, gray, great. Just like that. Okay? And the second part is about it. So we don't say it like 2 words. We say it as one word. And we don't say about. We say about. About. But because there's an IT, there's an it, and the second part, we're going to make it a D sound. Listen. About it. About it. Okay? Sounds crazy when it's very slow, but when we say it quickly, it sounds pretty good. About it. About it. Yeah, just like that. Okay? So listen to the sentence and repeat. When the great Ra heard about it, he was furious. Okay? And last one, number 5. Please listen. From then on, and even today, once each year, Isis travels to the riverbank. Okay? 2 words I want you to be careful about. The first word is today. Today. So we don't say today. We don't say it like that. The O becomes an sound. Today. Today. Like that, okay? And the last word is riverbank. So I hear many Taiwanese, they say bank, bank. But we don't say that. We say bank with a long A sound. A, bay, bang, bank. Just like that. So one more time, riverbank. Okay, and now please listen and repeat the whole sentence, all right? From then on, and even today, once each year, Isis travels to the riverbank. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this story, and of course, we have other stories that you can listen to. So I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.